This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. Aquadam.net. Give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, having to deal with the insurance company, not to mention the memories that are lost that you can never replace. To those who live in flood-prone and hurricane-prone areas, which is just around the corner, prepare now. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Visit Aquadam.net to see how they can help you prepare to avoid flood damage this season and every season thereafter. An aquadam could be another tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. A cofferdam, using water to control water, that can protect your home, your business, your church, your neighborhood, like a dam, but without the beavers. Give Aquadam a call at 707-764-2119, 707-764-2119, or look them up online at aquadam.net. They're also on Facebook at Aquadam Inc., or call or email them today. They can help you out. Give them a call. Tell them Opperman Report sent you. Opperman Report, that's 10% off the price to anyone who mentions the Opperman Report.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman, and we are live. We are live at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern Time on October 9th, 2020. Got a new idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing the live after show before the show. How's that? How's that for a great idea? I'm going to do the after show before the show, because what happened is when I moved east, and then, it wasn't so bad doing the show on the West Coast, because it was 3 hours earlier, but now I got to do it 10 o'clock to do the live portion of the show. It's just too late for me. I can't do it. I'm such a long day. So what we'll be doing now Friday nights, I think from now on, we'll see how this works, okay? I'll do the live portion at 8, and then I'll do the 2 hours of recorded interviews at 9 and 10, and then I can tell you about what's coming on. What's coming on tonight? Okay, I can tell you right now if I remember. We got Matt Sergiu, who runs Conspiro website. I forget what it is. But he's coming on in the theme of Dave McGowan's Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon. He's written this great article called Music, Military, Government Complex, about how like Decca Records and Abbey Roads and all these companies were involved in military contracting. Then I don't have it set up correctly either. At 10 p.m., I have coming on Anthony Daly, who got involved with as a young man being sex trafficked to elites in Soho, London, back in the 60s and 70s. Fascinating story with him, and it dovetails with all that stuff with Richard Kerr and Lord Mountbatten and the Kinkira Home for Boys. So that's this evening coming on. I taped today with Viceop. Everybody loves Viceop, right? ViceopViews.com, .blogspot.com, and he's got that podcast, The Farm. I taped with him today. He wrote a book about Epstein, so we talked there's a trilogy books coming out about Epstein, so I'm going to be putting that tomorrow in the Patreon section, along with, in the light of everything going on with this Michigan militia case, I'm going to be putting in the members in the Patreon the interview I did with Trevor Aronson that was in the members section. And what's that about? I can pull it up real fast. The bizarre story behind the FBI's fake documentary about the Bundy family. Fascinating interview with Trevor Aronson for The Intercept. So if you like the show, go to Patreon, where we have exclusive content, about 8 hours of new content each week, plus the old member section shows are being transferred over to there, and plus little things that have been popping up. I've been finding here and there, been doing little updates and stuff. I'm considering this plan. I'm kicking it around because I work on so much stuff during the week that doesn't make it to the news, doesn't make it to the show, but it's really exclusive information. Like, that whole Berkman and Wohl thing, I got all the inside information on that, and this whole thing that came up this week about Paul Lynde and the murder of Paul Lynde's boyfriend, I got some insider information. There's stuff that, I can talk about. I got some stuff about Hope Hicks. I got this stuff about one of Trump's impeachment attorneys. All these little bits of information that come to me that I can't quite talk about on the air because it would open me up to defamation and libel and slander because I don't have the proof to back it up. But it's stuff that I legitimately believe the sources that are coming to me with this stuff. Stuff about Donald Trump Jr. All kinds of stuff, man, I can tell you. So I'm thinking about setting up a special insider elite group in Patreon. Like, I'm open to negotiations, but I'm thinking about $500 a month. And you get access to all these stories. Like, I'll tell you a story about how I had this celebrity sex tape, and I'll tell you who the celebrity was, stuff like that. different things. I'm involved in controversies all the time. And plus my own life stories and, criminal behavior and activities and stuff over the years that I will share with you. But we have to come up with some kind of a plan to protect all of our interests here, make sure nobody gets in trouble. And I would need some kind of NDA agreement with the members of that tier, that you don't run around and share this and contact the people I'm talking about and stuff like that. But I think this can be done. And I'm willing to discuss, if you're interested in this kind of thing, really exclusive insider stuff that you don't hear anywhere. And someone made a comment about this in Patreon saying, well, it's not worth it. Let me tell you something. I was just working on a story in the past week that, we could sell for $15,000 to the tabloids. But the person who has the information is chickening out, doesn't want to do it. So trust me, it's worth it. Okay? Odd thing, too, this week. I really want to get to the subject matter in hand because I think it's very important. But I'll give you a little example, Like this week, I went to go, you heard about this controversy with Kellyanne Conway, her daughter, Claudia M. Conway, on TikTok. And she's the one who released the information that her mother, Kellyanne Conway, had COVID-19. And, her father, George Conway, is a famous attorney in the Beltway there, involved in a lot of stuff back with the Vince Foster case and stuff going back those days. Real Republican operative. Anyway, so I heard this news that Claudia Conway had some new information on her TikTok. So I went to her TikTok and she has me blocked. For some reason, Claudia Conway has me blocked on TikTok, and there could be no reason other than, if you're not familiar with the situation with her and her mother and her father, the kid seems to be in a really precarious situation, kind of being intimidated and abused by the parents, you might say. Some people would have that view from observing what's going on, just what we see in public, but it's definitely not a healthy atmosphere in that home. And the parents have, shuddered, Kellyanne Conway quit the White House to go home and deal with this problems with her family. So for some reason, Claudia Conway has me blocked. Now, I don't think it's because the kid has a problem with me. I never said anything about her. I've never mentioned her on the air whatsoever. But I do know that people in the Beltway are aware of me and the stuff and the kind of advocacy that I've done for other young ladies and young people in the Beltway involving sexual harassment cases and sexual battery cases. I know my name is out there for stepping in situations. So the only thing I could assume is that the parents, Kellyanne Conway, insisted that her daughter block me so that I wouldn't have access to her TikTok and wouldn't report it on the air here. The only thing I could think of. Otherwise, I have no contact with this kid. This kid should not know who I am or care why I would be watching her there. Anyway, so that's my new thing. Perhaps we can come up with some kind of exclusive tier there on Patreon where I could share with you my inside information on an ongoing basis. Anyway, the archives, all of our archives are always free. You can find that at Spreaker.com. I've been, I guess, kind of shadow banned on Spreaker now. It used to be, if there was a topic that you wanted to find about the Opperman Report, you could just Google Opperman, Spreaker, Manson. And all the shows I did on Spreaker about Charles Manson would come up, or the Manson family. And now it no longer does that. And if it does do that, it'll come up with the Spanish or the Italian version of Spreaker. So that's going to cost me a big dent in my income and stuff like that. I've been totally demonetized on YouTube. And now Spreaker is, totally shadow banning me there too as well. But we keep plugging away. We don't give up here at the Opperman Report. But our archives there are free at Spreaker. Now, I want to talk to you tonight about this. Let me see how much time I wasted. Not that much. Okay. I want to talk to you about this complaint, this affidavit and complaint that came out against these 5 gents over there in Michigan. This Michigan militia case. In the Western District of Michigan. Adam Fox, Barry Croft, Ty Garbin, Caleb Franks, Daniel Harris, and Brandon Caserta. These are a bunch of right-wing militia members who were unhappy with their leadership. They weren't happy with the governor of Michigan. They weren't happy with wearing masks. Kind of odd. Their political beliefs, as we could pick up, are kind of scattered about, But there's all this news about how they had this plot to kidnap the governor and they were building IEDs, improvised explosive devices, which sounds pretty scary. They're building, what's going on there? And they got this plan to kidnap the governor and they're going to blow up a bridge. And I'm hearing this. And I got to tell you, it's one thing when you hear about this case on the news, and it's a whole other story when you read the actual complaint. Okay? United States District Court versus these 6 gents that I mentioned. It's case number 120MJ416. You can look it up yourself. I'll try and put the PDF of the complaint and the criminal complaint and affidavit on my Patreon for you, for those that are members of the Patreon. By the way, you can sign up to the Patreon for as little as $3 a month and get access to a lot of this stuff and ad-free material too as well. Okay. First thing is I want to remind you of a guest, an Intercept reporter I've had on the show twice, Trevor Aronson. The first time was about his book, The Terror Factory, Inside the FBI's Manufactured War on Terrorism. And in that book and in that 2-hour interview I did with Mr. Aronson, I think I just repeated it recently, or if not, I will, probably Sunday. He talks about how a lot of these cases you see in the news, it turns out, that they're really, if it weren't for the FBI and their agents and their informants and their paid informants, these cases never would have come to fruition because, guys sitting around on a campfire, they're drinking beer, they're eating their s'mores, and they complain about the government. And then the FBI has a guy in there, who's getting paid, to bring in cases. And he kind of, why don't we go plant some bombs? And they go, okay, that's a good idea. Where are we going to get bombs from? I'll get them for you. The same guy. And that's kind of what happened in this here case when you start reading this. Trevor Aronson came back to a second time and he tells a story about the bizarre story behind the FBI's fake documentary about the Bundy family. What happened in that case was the FBI created a documentary film maker studio production company. And it was totally fake. It was run by this FBI agent who, by the way, himself got arrested later on for impersonating a private investigator. And, they had a website. They threw up a website. They didn't really have any previous films. But they said, hey, we want to do a documentary film. We want to interview all you people. And so they go in and they start interviewing people around the Bundys. And they went to the Bundy compound. And it turns out in that case, if you listen to that story, that's the one that's in the Patreon. If you listen to that one, you'll hear that half the people involved around the Bundys were informants or undercover agents or paid informants or snitches or just, or every combination of every one of the above. And so that's a fascinating story to listen to. Trevor Aronson's done great work in this area. But back to this affidavit and complaint against these 6 gentlemen here. It appears that, what is this? Fox and Croft were like buddies, right? And they were online buddies complaining about the government tyranny and all this kind of stuff. Like that. Typical right-wing hysteria. We don't let the mask. It's tyrannous to wear the mask. We don't have to wear the mask. They're in favor of that kid Rittenhour, shooting people over there in Kenosha. Hey, it's just great thing. The young kid armed, running around shooting people. It's a great deal. Hey. And Ty Garbin, it seems that he ran an actual militia up there in Michigan, and where he did training and firearms training and stuff like that. But he was kind of a pretty level-headed guy if you read the complaint, and kind of, was backing away from all these hysterical ideas that Croft and Fox had. But they were put in contact with each other through one of these confidential informants. In fact, I don't think they ever would have, this whole deal would have taken off without the confidential informant putting these two together. Okay? Now, the FBI in 2020, early 2020, they become aware of Croft and Fox because of their social media behavior. These guys are online chatting back and forth in public with live streams, all this kind of stuff, talking about, they got to take down the government, we got to take them all down. It's not a very sophisticated operation with these characters. Okay? And in June of 2020, Fox and Croft, they went to a meeting in Ohio, and there were 13 others there from several different states, and they met to discuss and create their own society based on the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. Now, it appears that there was an FBI undercover informant at this meeting. Otherwise, how would the FBI know about this? Okay, how would they know? Now, the cops knew already about this group way back in March, even before this June 2020 meeting, because what happened was, back in March, local police reported to the FBI that militia members were trying to obtain addresses of local cops in order to stage attacks and assaults on these cops. And so a local militia member who was sympathetic to the police cause went to the police, told his local police, hey, man, these guys are trying to get your names and addresses. They want to come after you. They want to do sabotage. They want to do property damage and possibly even assassinations. And so the local police department immediately went to the FBI. The FBI interviews this informant, who then becomes a confidential human source, which means he's an unpaid informant for the FBI. He runs in there. He's ready, willing, able to cooperate with the FBI for patriotic or whatever good deed type motivations. He's not getting paid to do this, And, maybe now and then these guys, they'll look the other way when you commit your other crimes, but he's there. He's a do-gooder, confidential human source. And there's two confidential human sources, and then there's two undercover employees, two guys that are doing it for the money. They want to get paid for their snitchery and activities down there. So it would appear that early on in March 2020, this group, this cast of characters, these merry pranksters and misfits who couldn't shoot straight, confide in someone, that they weren't sure enough about, that the guy had sympathies with the police. It might have possibly been a police officer himself, which is what I'm starting to suspect. This guy who initially went to the local cops was a cop himself, because there's a lot of overlap between cops and sheriffs and stuff like that and these groups. Okay. And now let's see. Oh, get this. Now, one of these CHS informants was close enough, and was involved in the introduction between Croft and Garvin, who ran the militia, that he could actually tape record phone calls with Garvin. Garvin felt comfortable enough with this informant that he would speak openly with him on the phone. Okay? Now, on June 20th, right, there's a meeting at Fox's business. Fox runs a vacuum cleaner store. Okay, Fox, a revolutionary militant here, runs a store that repairs and fixes and sells vacuum cleaners. In his vacuum cleaner shop, he has a trap door built into that leads under a carpet that leads to a basement. Okay, so then they're going to have a meeting down there, right? A top secret meeting to discuss their plots and their plans to overthrow the government, right? So there are all these guys. How many guys were there? It was a large group, about 10 guys, right? So you get all these guys. They say, okay, for security reasons, what we're going to do is everyone has to put their cell phones in this box here, and we're going to take your cell phones away from us. So you can't be snitching on us and recording our meeting. And then we're going to climb down into this hole in our basement. We're going to have this meeting here to plot the overthrow of the U.S. government. This basement of a vacuum cleaner store. Okay, possibly Hoover, Electrolux, I'm not sure. Okay, it's unclear from the complaint. Now, but one of these confidential human sources down there is already wired to the gills. Okay, the FBI has equipped him with recording equipment. Okay, so they didn't check for that. Okay, they just took their phones. They did the very basic here. These guys are committing a serious. They're going to do like 40 years in prison. These guys. Okay, they're plotting a serious crime here. And the precautions they take is, well, let's take away their cell phones, but then they don't check the rest of their bodies. And, they have all kinds of surveillance recording and video recording equipment nowadays. It goes in baseball caps and pens, very miniature stuff that you can really hide very simply these days. And they made no attempt to try and prevent that in their hole-in-the-ground meeting here, okay? Hey. Then, okay. After this, June 25th, right, Fox goes back on Facebook and he does a live stream openly talking about, why we got to do something about this governor, this tyrannical bitch. We got to take her down. Run wide out in the open. The FBI came into awareness of Fox and Kraft because of their behavior in the open online on Facebook, okay? And he's openly saying, "Hey, listen, we got to do something about this. If you got any ideas, contact me privately on my secured video stream." Okay, so he's openly saying, recruiting people into his terrorist activities here. And saying, "Okay, I'm telling you out in the open here, we need to destroy this bitch and take it down and destroy and overthrow the government. Contact me privately, though, so the FBI doesn't hear us making these plans." Okay, these are the geniuses behind this plan here, the sophisticated plan here. Okay. July 11th. This is their first. They went to one of these. They would call these things field exercises. They would call them. They're when they would run out on this private land and shoot their guns and do tactical training and stuff like that. Right? Did them a lot of good, didn't it? Okay. Did them a lot of good. They all got picked up without a shot being fired. All their tactical training. So. This is the July 11th is the introduction of the first improvised explosive device, the IED. Unfortunately, it failed to operate. He couldn't put it together properly, and it had balloons and it had all kinds of stuff like this involved with it. But unfortunately, the IED did not fail to explode as expected. The second attempt at an IED, and you hear these news reports. No, they were constructing IEDs, and one of them was successful. The one that was successful, they went to a fireworks store, okay? They obtained legal fireworks, okay? And I'm assuming it was a Blockbuster, right? And they cut open the top of the Blockbuster, right? Because that's glued shut with the Elmer's glue, I did this as a kid 10,000 times, okay? So what they did was they cut open the Blockbuster, right? Because you can peel away that Elmer's glue. You either buy more Blockbusters or you open up firecrackers or you can buy black powder, okay? And they added more black powder to this Blockbuster. And then they put the little cap back on and they glued it again, wait for the glue to dry. And these guys, as part of their shrapnel and their anti-personnel ordinance, what they did was they took a bunch of pennies and they taped it to the outside of the firecracker there with black tape. And then what they did is, okay, to test out the efficiency of their ingenious device here, their IED, is they put up some paper targets about, and then they lit this Blockbuster, this piece of fireworks, in the middle of it to see how many of the batteries the little pennies would pierce the paper targets. Now, as a kid back on Staten Island around 4th of July, we did this every single day. We even made a mortar one time out of a piece of sewage pipe, we stuffed tennis balls. We were shooting tennis balls out of the thing with Blockbusters. We made all kinds of little bombs and explosives and fireworks and, all kinds of stuff, man. We would build little fires and put some Lysol in there, then watch the Lysol can explode, or a can of paint in there and watch it explode all day long. So what these guys did is nothing more than me and all my little friends did back on Staten Island when we were 12, 13 years old. Okay, the genius that came up with this firecracker thing. Now, not until, remember, this whole thing started, their plans and plots and stuff started back in March when they wanted to go after cops. Then, in June of 2020, they meet with 13 guys in Ohio, and they want to say, well, we got a plan. We're going to overthrow the government of Michigan and take down the mayor, the governor. And then we're talking early on that the best place to do it would be at her vacation home. It wasn't until July 27th, right, that these guys said, hey, what is that? Where is the vacation home? What's the address for the vacation home? They had no idea. July 27th, into this operation, a month and a half, okay, almost 2 months, and they have no clue where this kidnapping is going to take place. Okay? And their theory is that they're going to use a real estate agent. They're going to contact a real estate agent who's going to tell them where the property is and information about properties next to the property. So these banditos, these dangerous terrorists here, are going to bring in the weakest possible link you can have. Someone who has a steady job, they go to work, they're selling real estate, bring them in, ask them questions about where the governor's property is, right? And then after the governor is kidnapped and murdered, like this person is going to say, oh my God, I'm the one that gave him this information. I better call the cops right now. Let me call my lawyer friend and see what he advises me to do. The lawyer's going to tell him right away, you got to tell the cops everything you know, otherwise you're an accomplice. Okay? Err on the side of caution. It says you have to advise your clients. So they bring in this weak link, a real estate agent, to tell them where the governor's property is. You know how long it would take an amateur to find, I could find the governor's vacation property, even if it was put under an anonymous LLC, I could still find it in an hour, okay? It would probably take a 5-minute internet search, a basic database search, okay? That would cost me about $2. And I could find that information in about 10 minutes, okay? But even if it was hidden under an LLC, because she took, or a trust, she took steps to prevent people from finding her address, you could still find that in a day. It's not a big job at all. These guys didn't even start looking till 2 months in. Now, August 29th, it wasn't until July 27th is when they start looking for the address. It wasn't until August 29th that they make a single visit to the home to see if it's even possible. This is the first time they're going to look at this governor's house is August 29th. What if when they got there, they said, oh my God, look, there's one road in, there's one road out. They got a cop station over here. They got a thing over there right across the street from the fire department. They don't know because they don't know where it is. This thing could have been right next door to the police station. This thing could have been out of walls and Doberman pinches around. They had no idea, but they had a plot to kidnap the governor when they had never seen the vacation home. Okay? Just when you look at it this way, right? It doesn't sound so good. Let me take a little commercial break here. And now a word from our sponsors.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents, They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at KMDlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to KMDlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Now, the overall picture I want you to have here, okay, is it's not like this. They had 13 guys show up in Ohio from all different states, so it's not like there's a network of these militias where they, when a couple of guys want to put together an operation, put together some kind of an assault. They have sources and resources to turn to. Yeah, well, we can get you that address. We have a guy, a PI, we got a cop. We have someone who can get you the governor's address. Okay, that's not that hard to get, We have someone who can assemble an explosive device for you. We have dynamite. We can get you dynamite. It's not that hard to get dynamite. It's a lot harder to get that ammonium nitrate now from fertilizer stores. You can't get that anymore, and when you do get it, it has signatures built into it that they can trace it back where it came from. So, but, dynamite's a lot. They can get dynamite, and because one of the things these guys had planned was they're looking at they're like an aerial Google Maps images of the governor's vacation home, and they see nearby there's a bridge, and they say, yeah, if we take down that bridge, it'll slow down the police response. It'll create a diversion. We got to take out the bridge. They're going to blow up the bridge there, right? They couldn't even blow up a homemade bomb. They got the firecracker to go off, but now they're going to blow up a bridge. And there's even talk later on in the complaint where they're going to buy a bomb from a guy. They have a bomb maker now that they're hired who's going to build this bomb for them. So I say, let me Google this bridge and see what it looks like. Maybe it's a little wooden bridge that you could blow up. Okay, then a couple of amateurs could blow up with homemade explosives. Okay, that's possible. I Google this bridge. It's a giant highway-type bridge. And they're over there doing reconnaissance, seeing where they're going to set the explosives underneath the bridge. These guys in their fantasy world. This bridge, okay, you would need 2 giant truck bombs, maybe 4, okay, with also 2 with the, real scientifically placed, demolitions, explosives on the pillars beneath it. Okay, this would be a big operation to blow up this bridge. It would take weeks of preparation. There's no way you would be able to do this as a diversion to a kidnapping. Or a shooting, because at other points in time they're talking about, why don't we just mail a bunch of bombs all over the place? Why don't we just show up at the door and shoot her? We'll walk by the house pretending that we're we're a citizen walking by. No planning, no real competence with these guys. This is doomed to failure from the start. Every bit of this planning. And my point I'm trying to make is that there's no organized militia, right-wing, trained, groups that are out there that can really pull anything off. Every time they show up to an event, a counter-protest, they get their asses beat, even with the police helping them, every single time. They've got all their guns, they clean their guns, they collect their guns, but they're afraid to use their guns in real life. And that kid, too, Renton Arrow, man, if the cops weren't right there, even that kid, if there weren't cops there, right, that he was turning himself into the cops, and they let him walk right by, that crowd would have pummeled that kid to the ground. Okay, would have disarmed him in a minute and provided some street justice to that kid. There's another incident here, okay, just to give you an idea. Okay? During the ride back to Garvin's property, Frank stated, "We're doing all the reconnaissance work, so it should go smooth." The reconnaissance work is driving around in the dark. All 13 of them pile into 3 cars and drive around in the dark. Okay, that's a reconnaissance. After arriving back at Garvin's property, confidential human source 2 asked, "Everybody down with what's going on?" And someone stated, "If you're not down with the thought of kidnapping, don't sit here." Garvin replied, now Garvin's the head of the militia. Okay, by the way, he seems to be like one of the guys here who has the most sense. Like he's the one trying to back them. Well, I don't think we should do this. I don't think we should do that. That's a little reckless. That's because they were talking at one point when they're doing their surveillance. Well, we all got guns, right? Let's go shoot somebody up. Okay, we're all here. Let's go have some fun. Garvin replies, "Oh no, we're not kidnapping. That's not what we're doing." It sparked general laughter. Amidst the laughter, another voice said, "No children." And a voice added, "We're adult napping." All right. Oh, my God. So there's a bunch of, the gang that couldn't shoot straight times 10. Okay, what happens next in this? Oh, my God. So they're doing their reconnaissance, right? And they're fantasizing about a boat escape. We're going to make an escape with a boat. They're at boat launches across the street. Oh, my God. So the next event and all this is September 12th when they put together that little blockbuster with the pennies, and they're able to ignite that thing and explode that. But otherwise, really, these guys were successful at doing nothing. Okay, but they wanted to do their October 7th they were going to make the payment for the explosives in exchange of tactical gear. But I guess that never happened because they either it fell through or the cops arrested them right after. Because I guess they were arrested on the 8th. So you'd think if they were going to be provided with this equipment, the FBI would have wanted to be there for that and added that possession of these, weapons and explosives into the case, but that never happened. So it seems like everything fizzled out. But many times, okay, during this, they kept saying they wanted to do this before the November 3rd election. And by the way, remember, this is the same group, or people from this group were part of that Michigan group that stormed the State House there in Michigan, and with their rifles and their guns and stuff like that. And Trump tweeted out, "Liberate Michigan," or something like that. Their anti-mask armed resistance. Just fascinating to me, man. When there's no armed resistance against wearing a seatbelt, right? Everybody just complies with that with no fear. But the mask thing that'll prevent you from getting sick. People don't want that. When meanwhile, all these guys are Trump fans. Meanwhile, we got 34 people in the White House right now who have COVID, tested positive for COVID. And tonight, with Jeff Sessions actually canceled a debate because he refused to be tested. So, with all that, don't forget, we're coming close to the election. And remember, I have endorsed Trump 2020. I was going to go for Corn Pop 2020, but he's not running. And I've explained this before. People don't think I'm joking or whatever like that. But an election or getting the person into office is a tool for achieving the goals you want to achieve, right? You can't just, I agree with this person and I disagree with this person. It's a tool. It's a leverage. We want the person in the Oval Office that is going to advance my interests the most. See, and when I was, back in the nightclub business and smuggling and stuff like that, and I would donate money to both parties as long as I would donate to the Republicans, I'd donate to the Democrats, as long as I had influence with both parties and I had protection and I could go to people for favors. My attorney told me that at 19 years old. I says, "Well, what are you, a Democrat or a Republican?" And he says, "Well, I give to both parties because when I need something, I got somebody to go to." And I learned right away, is that how that works? That makes sense because everybody's greedy and everybody can be paid off. So why do I want Trump in the White House as opposed to Mr. Biden? Okay, well, Biden gets in there, Sleepy Joe, the country goes back to sleep. Sure, things will be calm. It'll be far less entertaining. It'll be far less interesting. Biden's going to do nothing. He said, put me in, nothing's going to change. It's all going to be the same. We'll have to go back to paying that Obamacare mandate, and I'll get that fine every year, when I do my taxes. Now, if Trump stays in, what do we have on the Trump? Well, under Trump, we have the greatest massive organization of Black Lives Matter than we've ever seen since its initiation. We see the greatest mobilization, organization, and implementation of street fighters and protesters and street organizers than we've ever seen in my lifetime. Okay, we've seen where we actually have autonomous zones where the protesters, street people, have taken over areas, taken over sections of a city. In my lifetime, I've never seen that. Okay, I've seen us take over buildings and stuff like that, but never a whole city, never a whole section of a city. Courthouse steps and courthouse, never before. We see this under Trump. We see that his response is ineffective. Okay, they're losing. Okay, they're losing, and we're gaining ground. Okay, and the idea is accelerationism. Okay, and creating the conditions of revolution. And one way that you create the conditions of revolution is that you invite increased suppression and oppression from the oppressors. You invite that because then the people get fed up with that and they rise up and resist it. Supposedly this works, and we have nothing to lose. Because under Biden we go back to sleep. This whole resistance dissolves and goes back to bed and sleep. Whereas Trump can motivate housewives and teenagers in the suburbs to take to the streets and protest and resist police brutality. We actually had, steps to defund the police. I know it's weak and watery and kind of lame, but we're making advances in all these things, aren't we? Trump is helping the capitalist system to crumble. Okay, we're watching. More people are open to socialism than ever before in my lifetime. And this is because they see the stupidity of these Trump supporters and stuff like that. So it's not a matter of, hey, I want someone in office that agrees with me. Okay, I want right now, but the two choices, I'm not going to have anybody that agrees with me. And they're both capitalists. But if we have Trump in there, it creates the conditions of revolution. And that's what I want. That's what I want to see. That's what I endorse. And there are places like Florida, which we can swing. They're close. And we can get people out there. We can get our enemy in office there to try and clamp down things even further. Plus, the guy's just so incredibly incompetent that nothing will succeed that he tries to put forth, And plus, it's more entertaining. It's more fun. This is exciting. It's interesting, I'll continue reporting on the guy's crimes and his evil behavior. But, we're making advances as far as I see. I'm encouraged. I see these young people talking about socialism. I see them talking about economic justice, racial justice, social justice. I'm all for it, man. Okay. Things like the handling of COVID, it's a big mess, and, many more people died than have to die. And even right now, here down in Florida, the daily deaths are down to, they're holding it under 150 a day. It was over 200 a day, but they're under 150 a day. So if had not they opened up the schools and opened up the bars, we'd probably be down to about 100 a day by now. So hopefully we can get that at least leveling out, and not increasing, especially when the flu season's right around the corner. Because I see these kids, and we live right by a school here, and I see these kids leave the school, and they're not wearing masks. They're right on top of each other. The crossing guards aren't wearing masks. The kids are just doing the regular stuff the kids do, man, pushing each other, Couple of things we missed when I did a show, I guess it was last week, about all the events in the news. There were so many events in the news. Okay. Then a couple that I missed and I couldn't tell you about. One is this lawsuit with Kimberly Guilfoyle, who is Trump Jr.'s girlfriend. They're like living together now. They both left their spouses to go to be together. Fox had to settle a $4 million lawsuit because she was sexually harassing and acting inappropriately, sexually and pervertedly, around her employees, forcing them to sleep in the same room with her, walking around naked in front of them, showing them pornography of men that she had sex with, like dick pics and stuff like that. Any other time in this country, this would be a major news story that the president's son's girlfriend had to settle a sexual harassment lawsuit. That would be a big story. When that Okay, but we got 34 people in the White House contracting COVID and spreading it around, and his former Kellyanne Conway daughter tweeting, TikTok, all this. How about Trump's former campaign manager, Brad Parscale, was in an armed standoff with the police. His wife had a call the cops on domestic violence charges. He's drunk, he's wasted, he's armed to the teeth, he's barricaded himself. And this is Trump's campaign manager. He was fired as the main campaign manager, but he was still running the media. This would be, any other time in history, this would be the biggest story. We'd still be talking about it. It lasted a day and it's over. By the way, there's a silver lining to that story. He's back with his wife. Okay. He's back with his wife now. They're back. One of the things I hate to bust on the guy, but one of the things he was telling the cops that he was upset about is that his wife wouldn't have sex with him anymore. And you could see he's on that same stuff, man. That same whatever cocktail those guys take, the steroids, and he has the same body as Alex Jones. He must be taking those same penis pills that Jones takes. And they must work because he wants to sleep with his wife, but she won't let him. Anyway, so he's back with his wife. That's it. So there's a happy ending to the story. Okay. Unlike other happy endings that Alex Jones' wife provided in their career. Oh, God. Let me get this ready here, because we're almost at the end of the show, and I have to have our finish ending commercial. Things set and ready to go. So, let's see what else. It's kind of interesting. Trump on steroids now, right? Part of his treatment for his COVID. But by the way, you and I would never get that kind of treatment. You can't even get a test for this stuff when you go to the hospital now. And this guy's getting steroids and experimental treatment. So, he's all roided out now. These steroids, flipping out on Twitter. Who knows what this guy's like around the White House? Did these bizarre interviews today with Hannity and Rush, Levin, and there was something about he's going to do a live, televised medical exam. They're going to examine him, do a checkup live on TV. Oh God, you gotta love this stuff, man. No other time in life. We live in interesting times, as they say. And we certainly do, and they can only get more interesting. And I think momentum's on our side, and I think we're going to see some victories here. We see from this complaint, the other side is completely inept and unable to function. Oh yeah, that last thing I wanted to talk about was the two. Do I have it pulled up? I don't think I do, but I've been talking about this. The McCluskeys, right? The McCluskeys. Remember, Black Lives Matter was having this protest and it was marching on the St. Louis mayor's home, which was in a gated community, and they pushed through the gate and the gate fell apart. And they're walking by the McCluskeys' house, and the McCluskeys didn't even have time to put their shoes on. And they come running out of their house with their weapons, and they're waving their weapons around at the crowd, and they're yelling at them, "Back off, private property, back off." And they're waving their guns at each other. They're waving their guns. Too bad they don't live in Michigan, man. They could have been in on that job there with the governor. Anyway, they were just indicted by the grand jury, and they threw in an extra charge, brandishing, which is more than exhibiting, okay, which is the worst charge, felony charge, and also to tampering with evidence, because when they turned in one of their weapons, they disabled it and reassembled it in a way that it would not function. Anyway, so they tampered with evidence and turning it over to the police there. And I tried to explain, and people think, well, Ed, that's self-defense. If there's a crowd coming to attack you and they're breaking your property, you can pull out your gun and wave your gun at them, right? And I'm trying to say, no, that's not self-defense. Okay, first of all, they were never in any danger. This video of the marchers walking by them yawning. The guy saying, keep going. This is a hysterical stunt by a couple of people that were a little probably out of their wits that day, on whatever substances they were using. But the idea that you can brandish a weapon, okay, and point it at people that you disagree with or that are damaging your property is completely false. You're not allowed to do that, and people should understand that. And people come back will say, well, and I live in a stand your ground state. That's right. If someone's assaulting you, attacking you, you can. You can't shoot people for trespassing. You can't shoot people for damaging property. You can't. And you can't wave a gun at people just because you're mad. You can't point a weapon at people just because they approach your property. Let's say you and I are neighbors, right? And every time, our trash cans are right next to each other, right? And I had a neighbor one time, too. They moved, and they would take their trash and put their trash in my can. Well, what if I said, well, I'm going to go over to them and talk to them about this and say, hey, listen, I told you before not to do this anymore. I'm telling you right now, you better stop doing this. Do you think they could come out on their porch and start waving a gun at me? Okay? Or even if I'm walking by their house and I scream at them, I say, stop parking in front of my driveway. You think they can come out and point a gun at me? Of course not. If you have a landlord-tenant dispute, do you think you could pull out a gun and start pointing a gun at people? You can't do that. It's just like you can't do it just because people are peacefully, or not peacefully, just marching or protesting or damaging property as they walk past you. You can't shoot someone for damaging property. It's not. And you try it, and you see what happens. You get arrested. You get indicted. There's a grand jury that indicted these people. Now, I know they're going to be pardoned by the governor, but I think the governor is going to come to his senses. I think there's going to be a whole new mood. I don't think Trump's going to win, okay? I think the country's tired, and they do want Sleepy Joe, and they want to go back to bed, and I'm hoping not. Okay, and I don't think that Trump's going to give the signal, and these militias are all going to come. They may drive around and shoot some gun off in the air, but they're all basically talkers. A lot of talk, a lot of cleaning your guns, a lot of collecting guns. It's kind of people. The gun fetish, explains itself. Why people have to pose in a picture with a gun, or show people they have a gun, which is the worst tactic to use in the world, is to show people you're armed, or to if you really want to defend your home from an attack of an angry mob, the last thing you would do is open your front door and run out in your bare feet and point the gun. Okay, if you're really afraid of people going to advance into your home, maybe put one person in the living room downstairs in front of the front door, cover the windows and stuff like that, and anybody coming in, you shoot them. But a second guy, sniper, okay, second floor, and shoot them as they're coming towards your house. If your intent is to protect your property, okay, not run out into the street where a mob can pick you off. Anybody in that crowd had a handgun on them would pick them both off and get a clear shot to their head. Okay, game over. All right, we are done. I'm tired. It's late. I'm going to play the next show with Matt Conspiro and about his thing about it's a fascinating show about how the Beatles and the Stones and stuff like that, all their music was produced out of these production companies were involved in the military-industrial complex. And he's got all the facts there. So, good night. Keep in mind, if you're interested in this private Patreon group, I only need a few elite members in there, and I'm going to go through. I'm going to teach you how to make IEDs, okay, with pennies and firecrackers, and all kind of stuff like that too. We can come to an agreement on the amount, but it has to be worth it for me, because I'm going to, stick my neck out here. All right, guys. Good night.
And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents, they handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at KMDlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to KMDlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Aquadam.net. Give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, having to deal with the insurance company, not to mention the memories that are lost that you can never replace. To those who live in flood-prone and hurricane-prone areas, which is just around the corner, prepare now. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Visit Aquadam.net to see how they can help you prepare to avoid flood damage this season and every season thereafter. And Aquadam can be another tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. A cofferdam, using water to control water, that can protect your home, your business, your church, your neighborhood, like a dam, but without the beavers. Give Aquadam a call at 707-764-2119, 707-764-2119, or look them up online at aquadam.net. They're also on Facebook at Aquadam Inc., or call or email them today. They can help you out. Give them a call. Tell them Opperman Report sent you. Opperman Report, that's 10% off the price to anyone who mentions the Opperman Report.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.